Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
So we recorded a long time ago.
We did.
And then shit got busy. Got mad, crazy busy. So we said it is about time for us to start the Curious Inception conversations again.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if we have an actual title for the show.
I think we do. We have a couple that we have in mind.
I need some of this dope water.
But we do need to start this whole conversation again because truly it's become even more important, especially with what has been happening in the last year and a half or so. Because I think it's important for the conversation.
It really is. So I think we need to start with introducing ourselves because there's probably a lot of people that don't know who I am or who you are or who we are together. So
yes. Well, I am Nayana Ferguson. I am the co-founder of Curious Inception, the co-founder of Anteel Tequila, and the co-founder of Teeqlife as well. We have several businesses.
We do. So I'm Don Ferguson, co-founder of Anteel Tequila, Curious Inception, Teeqlife, multimedia marketing and branding. And is there anything else we're missing out? I don't know.
I think that's a lot. That's enough. But I mean, I'm sure during our conversations, a bunch more stuff is going to come out. So we can go through it then.
Yeah. So, one of the things with Curious Inception is we are business consultants. And I know a lot of people see from the standpoint of Anteel Tequila what we're accomplishing. We went from only being available in Michigan to now we're available in 8 states, launching in the Caribbean, multiple online platforms that are selling, Anteel, where you can order it online and have it delivered nationwide. But I think it's really important to kind of get into the background. Like, this isn't our first go around of starting a company, owning a company, just different things like that. I mean, this is, would we call ourselves serial entrepreneurs?
I would think so. I think that's what they call it. And it's not that we're serial, that we start something and then we stop and just keep starting stuff. We are starting businesses that we are actually growing and that are actually growing in the market and growing with the brands. So I consider that a serial entrepreneur. Yeah. Definitely.
No, absolutely. So, kind of walk people through, I guess, your resume, your bio, if you will. It's like, businesses, what was your first business? I mean, typically a lot of people, it's a lemonade stand or newspaper, that's kind of another entrepreneurial thing, but what do you want to share? What don't you want to share? Stuff like that.
If we really got to go back to it, my first business was a restaurant. And actually, when I say that, it was when I was 7 years old to when I was about 10. I used to pretend that I had owned a restaurant, and I used to
the McDonald's little playset?
No, I actually printed up menus. I hand wrote my menus. I hand wrote just all type of things. I came up with pricing. I did all of these things, and at that time, my grandparents and my mother were my customers, always my customers, and I would go take their order, and then I would figure out how much I needed for each order and everything. Wow. This was when I was younger.
Okay. But you were really making food for them?
No, not really.
Okay,
not
so
real food. Pretend food, except for tea, and I had frozen Snicker bars that I would use to give them. So the frozen Snicker bars would be a steak. So I put other food in place of what actual food was.
But were they paying you actual physical currency?
Well, physical currency that I made.
Okay. So this is
I made everything though. Like, I hand wrote my menus. I hand wrote the money that they use. I did all of those things. And if I think back to it, I actually made lists of how much I needed of stuff,
So you did a cost analysis?
Orders. Yeah. Okay. At a 7-year-old mind.
Okay.
But when my first actual business where I was actually selling a product and actually getting physical U.S. currency, I was actually a personal chef.
Okay.
So yes, so that's something in my background. I I also had a couple of other e-commerce businesses.
Okay.
But my corporate job has always been a financial analyst, and
Right.
I've been that for over 20 years. And of course, we'll get into the story about the corporate world, the corporate culture, as to why. And I think it truly goes back to why you and I have both, from since we've been younger, have been looking for something and looking to be an entrepreneur instead of being in the corporate culture.
Yeah, and it's not shading, anybody that has a job, I mean, having a job, working in that corporate model, that corporate structure allowed us to do what we're doing, but it was, for me personally, I wanted to have a greater impact on the world.
Absolutely.
I wanted to find my purpose. I wanted to, figure out what I'm good at and really kind of work for myself and build my own dreams instead of building somebody else's dreams. And I looked at it from a perspective, if I'm making 150, 160, 170,000, what are the owners making? You
always need to look at that.
I'm stressed. So that's a whole thing. And with this podcast, video podcast, so vodcast, is that what it's called?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Remember blog, and then it was vlog?
Video blog, so vlog. But I'm going to be, really transparent. I'm going to be unfiltered. I'm going to say this shit the way that it is. This is my medium, to talk, candidly about experiences and, hopefully can inspire people, and motivate them and kind of show, wow, Anteel was not their first business in their past. So
that's why I know you can't get off the hook. You have to talk about your past experience in entrepreneurship because you have some experiences as well. I don't know if you're going back to when you were 7. But.
No, I'm not. I don't have it like that. But I mean, I think my first entrepreneurial thing was having a paper route. And I was in my teens and I had a paper route. Now, I know I worked for the newspaper, but truly it was almost like they dropped off the newspapers. This is how much I had to pay for the newspapers, and everything else was profit. So it's really the same thing that we're doing right now is, we work with a distillery with Anteel Tequila. This is how much it costs. We take it, we flip it, we sell it, and then we take the profits and we invest back into the company. So that's truly, as I look at it, it was a paper route. And then, it kind of went from there. It wasn't really until, I can't even remember how old I was, in my 20s, where I co-owned an independent record label. And that's where I got my first taste. So I handled all the marketing, all the promotion, PR work, just different things like that. And that was before we had social media, which makes everything so much easier. The direct-to-consumer route, is just absolutely fantastic. And it puts people in a position that maybe years ago, decades ago, wouldn't have owned a business. Now they do. And it just makes that channel of e-commerce and, even promo. Instagram people are, selling products on Instagram or selling their services, as an influencer. So it's amazing. But I co-owned an independent record label. I worked with some of the best. I'm not going to name drop.
Right.
I got called out on that before of who we worked with. But it was some of the best in, hip hop and R&B in Michigan. So that's kind of where it started. And then later on, I tried to develop a multi-entertainment complex. And I haven't showed many people this. This is actually the first ever business plan that I wrote. And you can see, how thick it is. It was very, very detailed to where cost analysis, building diagrams, concept, even down to cocktails for this, a mission statement, company description. It took me a long time to do something like this. And the concept for this was like merging, a small theater with an entertainment, restaurant and Dave & Buster's and stuff like that. It was really, really revolutionary, but I couldn't get the financing.
And the thing is, it was revolutionary because you did that before we actually had those type of places, because we did
Yeah.
actually end up having those type of places.
Yeah, there's some
So
around.
when you first showed it to me, it was like, oh, you were like at the beginning of
Yeah.
it, you know, and if you were able to at that time to make it happen, you probably would have been one of the first ones.
Yeah, like it was really revolutionary, and it was just like combining, you know, so many different elements under one roof. But you can see, you know, it's thick. You know, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's about 100 pages or something like that. And you know, the first lesson that I want to teach people is I don't have a college degree. I went to college for about a half a minute, and I decided, well, I don't think this shit is for me.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone, and it wasn't for me. So I had no training. I did all this by researching, you know, back in the day, Google, because this is like, wow, early 2000s when I did this.
And see, Google wasn't as extensive
No.
as it is now.
No, not at all. So
It was still brand new.
you know, I just couldn't get the financing for it. Unfortunately, it was like 1.2, 1.4 million or something
Okay.
like that. And,
Okay.
you know, we checked all the couches. We tried to find loose change, but it just, it didn't really
It
happen. But that just goes to show you is if you really want something bad enough, you will educate, teach yourself,
Absolutely.
and put it together. And that's kind of where Anteel Tequila falls into place. That's where
Yes.
Teeqlife multimedia falls into place. And, you know, now even Curious Inception is because initially we had many people reaching out to us, seeing, you know, some of our successes and seeing us overcoming fears and, you know, pursuing our dreams and our passions and saying, hey, can you help me? And as much as we want to help people and be mentors, we are very limited on time. Like there's not a lot of time in the day. So the other thing about it is we found that a lot of people, or some of the people that we were talking to, I'll say some of the people, you know, weren't serious. They were
Right.
serious today about owning a business, but then when they found out everything that goes into it, tomorrow they didn't want to do it. They didn't pursue it. They gave up on their dreams and their passions.
It's all, you know, the excuses, but we know it comes from fear. We know that basically the foundation of all of it is fear, because a lot of people don't execute if they don't have this right, if they don't know all the answers or anything like that. And I think that's the conversation that we're going to have over and over
Yeah,
again.
we're going to have those conversations.
Just because that is so very important, because that's actually what's prevalent in a lot of people not going forward
Yeah.
with their businesses or their ideas and
Huge.
things like that. So,
Yeah.
and we encounter it with the people that we work with, and also people who we end up not working with because they let fear stop them from moving forward.
Absolutely. You know, so with that is as much as we were spending our time, our own personal time to help people and mentor them, and then they gave up, well, we had to start to separate the
Correct.
real from, as I always say, the entrepreneur from the wantrepreneur. And to separate them, to make sure that you're very serious about it, what we did is we started charging an hourly fee.
Correct. And believe me, it's a nominal fee, because truly the information and the time that we offer, we could do it for a lot more, but
Triple. I know somebody doing it for triple, but
we understand, because a lot of people, when you're in that space of just starting out, or
Yeah.
you've been doing it for 5-something years and you haven't figured it out, and you've depleted some of your resources,
Yeah.
you don't have that type of cash or
Right.
resources to be able to pay someone to help you. So we understand that, but we do have to separate the ones that
We
don't
have
want
to.
that are serious and that are not.
your time is valuable. Your knowledge, your skill set that you bring to the table is valuable. It's the same as a job. You are paid at a job for your skill set, for your time. Unfortunately, sometimes with automation or, you know, with downsizing, like you don't become valuable anymore because computers take over, robotics take over. So therefore, what happens is you're not valuable anymore. Now that company will either, you know, retrain you or repurpose you, or you get let go. And that's happened several times to you.
Absolutely. So I think what we're trying to tell people is that we have the foundation, just even from way back when you were creating that business plan and doing all the research.
You know how long this took me? I worked on this almost a year.
So, but again, you were determined to find the information.
Absolutely.
So, I just wanted that people understand that we're not just new to this.
No.
We're not new to this.
No.
That we've had many experiences in the past that have led to what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. And truly, I think those have educated us on what we're doing now, gave us some foundation, and then we are moving forward, just growing and learning more information as we go along, and what we're doing and what we're doing to help others.
And I like helping others. So it's like, we work with Dope Water. And Dope Water, it's a bottled water company. It's naturally, natural spring water, right from the source, fantastic. But everything that they stand for is just amazing. We're drinking out of Teeqlife champagne flutes, basically. We're drinking water. But that's another company.
Yes.
And that's where I help liquor brands and teach them how to market and promote their brands. The small brands, the emerging brands that don't really have a budget. We can find how to work your budget. Any budget that you actually have, we can figure out a way to maximize your potential. And that's really what it is. So you don't have to feel lost that you can't go to, a big mega conglomerate consulting company because you can't afford it. There are other resources out there for you. And that's what we try to do, is point out how you can, make $1 out of 15 cents.
Yes.
That's we love to say
I
love to say that.
Because we did it. I think back in the day, you and I, with the business ventures that we were in, we had to. So
limited capital, limited resources. I remember, creating flyers and handing them out, and then what I would do is
all the flyers.
I am, and so I had a buddy that worked at a major company. And, it was a 4-story building. And so at night he would be working. I'd go there. I'd use all of their copiers to print all my flyers. And then I found a cutter. They actually had a cutter. I'd cut my flyers. So all I had to do, was buy the paper. So I'd go to Kinko's or for Office Max, Staples, whatever it was, and I'd find their clearance section and find paper, colored paper that was on clearance. Sometimes it was a beautiful bright pink, which is what I wanted because then it stands out. But other times it was like an opaque green puke color, but it was cheap. I could print 1,000 flyers for about $5. And you have to work with what your resources, what you're capable of grabbing and putting your hands on. And so that's kind of some of the things that we talk about. It's like, I remember talking to somebody and they were being charged $1,500 for a press release. Fuck, are you kidding me? $1,500? Wow. We don't charge anywhere near that.
No.
But it was just like, why are you doing that?
Wow.
You can find cheaper alternatives. So absolutely. Work within your means, but still work.
Yeah. People get caught up with that, and then that's one of those things as to why they don't move forward, is because they encounter something like that, like, oh my God, I can't afford that, then I can't afford this, and they're like, I can't do it, and then they stop. And that is something that we help with our clients that we have. You know what?
Overcome that fear.
What do they say? It's more than one way to skin a cat. It's more.
We're not skinning any cats. But for PETA out there, is it PETA or PETA? PETA. We're not. No.
It's a saying, but. You can work within your means. You can get around all of these things. There are so many ways to do many different things, and that's something that we help with our 100% as well.
So if there's somebody watching and they're on the bubble, they're right on the edge of doing something that they've always wanted to do, in 60 seconds, what would you say to them? What is a tip to get them from being on the edge to going over the edge?
I would tell them that, first of all, everything is not going to be perfect. You're not going to know everything that you need to know about whatever business that you're going to do, and you do not have to have millions and billions of dollars of money, because the most important thing of any business is to execute.
Yeah.
Because we can all get all type of information, and that's something that I talk about a lot with in a lot of the interviews we've been doing a lot lately, and we talk about business. That's the most important part. One of the most important parts, I'll say, to me, is actual execution, because you can get all of this information, and if you don't do anything with it,
yeah,
then no one will ever know about your business. So if I had to tell anybody anything, it would be execute. And if you need to get a consultant or a mentor to help you with that, then definitely do so.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'll just kind of follow behind like Haley's comment, the tail end of that, and just, yeah, absolutely. Like, don't expect perfection. If you always wait for it to be perfect, you'll be waiting for a long ass time. And that's what we find with a lot of people. Oh, the label's got to be right, the box, the packaging, all of this has to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. The main component is the product, whatever you're bringing to the table, because you can always window dress it up later on. Mm-hmm. Brands do that all the time.
Absolutely.
Big brands do that all the time, is they redesign a label, they redesign their packaging, whatever it may be, and they update it. But the key is to get out there. Just start. If it's a blog, start writing. You'll get better. If it's a podcast, start podcasting. You'll get better. That's the trend. If it's a product that you're putting out, whatever it is, get it out there. As the sales come in and as money comes in, you can always upgrade. That's always that's the key thing. The thing is start.
Yes. Just
start doing it. So I think that wraps up our intro video. We'll probably do these either every 2 weeks or bi-monthly, whatever, whenever we feel like the energy.
Well, I know it's several different topics that we talked about in the past and that we can continue to have a conversation about, because they are still prevalent and they're still very relevant in the business world for entrepreneurs and things like that. So I think we have a lot to talk about. Woo. And we'll probably just go and have a certain topic that we'll talk about. Yep. We'll have people who will ask us questions, and we may go ahead and talk about those and have conversations as well. So I think we'll have a lot to go over.
I think so too. So thanks for tuning in to our inaugural re-episode.
Right.
I don't know, because we tried. We did before, but we got off that. But we will be on, a time frame now and do this consistently.
Yes.
So thanks for watching. Thanks for following Curious Inception, Anteel, Tequila, Teeqlife, Dope Water, all of these things. So we'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you soon.